Hey guys, it's Laura. So you're going to notice some differences in my videos starting in 2025, and I'm going to put this little blurb at the front of several of my videos because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I definitely pre-record some of my videos and I schedule them out just because I need to be able to do that to manage my work and school and life balance. So I have several videos that are scheduled out for January of 2025 that have my old intro and my old channel name, and I've updated that as of January 1st. So kind of exciting. And I just wanted to kind of give a little explanation, I guess, before each of those videos and just let you know why you might hear me refer to Laura B. Floss Tube and why you may just see just some differences moving forward, especially when the videos later in January and then February and then further on start posting. So anyway, that is what I want to share with you. Welcome to Laura's Handmade Haven. I am so glad that you've joined me. I am still the same girl. I'm still the same crafter and creator. I've just kind of expanded what I do with my channel since I originally named it, and I just wanted my channel name to reflect that. And it definitely, I feel like it definitely opens up opportunities for me to bring in different types of content as we move forward. And I hope you're as excited about that as I am, because I am looking forward to sharing all kinds of crafty goodness with you. So without further ado, let's get started on today's video. Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura B. Floss Tube. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. A little bit different of a video, and I know I sometimes say that a lot, but this is definitely a little bit different of a video today. So I am going to start working on some seed packets that are from the Mercantile collection from Lori Holt as the designer. My husband gave those to me as an anniversary gift, and they are so cute, and there are a ton of pieces in each one of those blocks. So I needed to figure out a way that I could be organized with those and make it a little easier for me to keep track of all those pieces. So obviously on the market there are some markers, and there's different ways that you can mark your fabric pieces. There are definitely some pens on the market that you can do, that you can get like the lettered pens. There's also these cute little tiles from Fat Quarter Shop called Alphabitties. But okay, so here's the deal. I have a closet full of craft supplies, and every once in a while I'm like, you know what, I don't want to have to buy another thing when I can make it pretty quickly and easily. So what I have done is I went into my crafting closet and I pulled out my shrink film. Now I have had this forever because my girl and I used to do all the crafts under the sun, and she loved Shrinky Dinks. So I had a bunch of Shrinky Dink shrink film in the closet, and I thought, you know what, that's exactly what I need to use to make some Alphabitties of my own. And I have actually made one set in the past, and they turned out really great. They're like 1 inch square, and they have the A, you know, or the letter on them, and a cute little border, and I even punched a little hole at the top. And I love them. They work great, and I use them all the time. But now the blocks that I am going to be using for the quilt seeds for the Mercantile set, those go all the way through like double letters. So I could use 2 different sets of Alphabitties, which would totally work, or I could make myself another set of Alphabitties that just have all of those double letters on it, and that's what I'm going to do. So I thought, hey, why don't I share this cute, fun little tip with you as well? So on my craft table, I have my shrink film, and I have 2 different kinds of pens. I do have just a regular black Sharpie. I also have an Identipen, which is just a different type of a permanent marker. Now these are great because they do not smudge or smear on plastic, and so I think that that's what I'm going to go with. I'm just going to kind of test what the thickness of the marker is before I make that final decision on which way I'm going to go. So in addition to the shrink film, I'm going to have my paper cutter and my Crop-A-Dile. So I'm going to gather up my supplies, and we're going to talk through how to get these working to make your own 1 inch alphabet squares. All right, on the back of the shrink film package, it tells me that the shrink film will reduce down when you bake it by 50%. So that tells me that, you know, if I want a 1-inch square, I need a 2-inch square to begin with. Now the shrink film is 8.5 by 11, so I am going to be wasting a little bit of this, but not too much. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put this into my cutter and cut down my strips and my squares. It wasn't exactly supposed to move on me like that, but it did, didn't it? And this is not, you know, it's not difficult to cut through this shrink film at all. It is just kind of like, it's almost like a transparency. If you've never used shrink film before, just know it's not that difficult. And I could definitely use my scissors instead of my cutter. I just feel like this is going to be a little bit faster, because now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this down to the 10-inch mark to begin with, and now I'm going to start cutting off 2-inch blocks. Let me move this over so they don't fall off the table when they cut off. And the reason that I'm cutting these down first is because that way I know where the edges of each one of my little tiles is going to be. I don't have to do anything different about that. And you definitely have to cut your shrink film before you shrink it. You don't want to have to try to cut through it after you shrink it. So from one sheet of shrink film, I have 22-inch squares. And, you know, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. I'm going to go ahead and I'm honestly just going to go ahead and cut all of these and just make them all up, because I don't really have anything else in mind that I could do with these. And I may, as I go through and start using them as and then as I go through and do my little designs on them, I may actually not only do alphabets, but also numbers. I do have numbers 1 through 20, but some of the other applique quilts that I'm doing now, especially with those pieced blocks, sometimes you have 24 or 26 different pieced blocks. So I may go ahead, after I do my second set of alphabet, I will go ahead and do some additional numbers as well. I'm going to take half of these. I don't feel like I want to try to cut through that entire stack. That would be 2 sheets, which is quite a bit, honestly. This is when, you know, my husband laughs at me. I do have quite a diverse collection of craft supplies in my craft closet, but I tell you what, they come in handy so often. My stepdaughter came over last weekend, actually, and she needed some things for class, and she's like, I'm making this, she's making a lamp, which is just phenomenal that she's able to do this. She's a fine arts major at the zoo. So anyway, she's making this lamp, and she needed just like some fringe and some needles and just different things. And I was like, oh, well, here, you can take this, you can take this. And I was like, oh, do you want this? And I gave her all kinds of stuff. And anyway, she was very happy. And she's like, I can't believe you have all of this stuff. And I'm like, oh, girl, we've done so many different crafts in our time together that it doesn't surprise me anymore. All right, so I do have a little bit of a waste of my shrink film, but not too much. Now, the other tool that I'm going to use to make these is my Crop-A-Dile, and you will see on the sides that there are 2 different sizes of hole punches that it can do. I'm going to use that bigger size, and the reason I'm doing this is just in case I ever want to stick a pin or a safety pin through this into like a little group of fabric or something, then I have a hole in that little tile that I can, you know, pin through. So I'm just going to grab a stack of these. I'm not really even counting. I probably have, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them in a stack. And I'm going to try it. It might be too many. We'll see. And I do want to go, oh, you know, a little ways in and kind of try to get it close to the center. Now, I could put those in the corner too, and that would be a good idea. I might do that on some of them. They don't all have to be the exact same, right? That's part of the fun. I do love this Crop-A-Dile. I've used it for so many different things over the years. I've even used it for eyelets, which is what it was designed for. Let me go ahead and punch holes in the rest of these, and then we'll start marking them up. All right, so basically at this point, I'm just going to start writing the letters on each one of them. And we will then put them on the trays and we'll go shrink them. Now remember, I already have one set of alphabet tiles that I've made. I messed that up, so I had to think. And so these are my doubles. All right, now obviously these are fine just the way they are, and I could just leave them the way they are. I'm probably going to do something on them. I'm not sure what yet. I'll probably do a little doodle around the outside edge, and then I'm going to put them on the trays, and we will go to the oven to shrink them down. All right, so here we are in the kitchen. I have my oven preheated to about 325 degrees. I have all of my Shrinky Dink tiles on my cookie pan, and I'm gonna throw it in the oven. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, something like that. You just kind of have to watch it and see them curl and shrink up. So don't judge me on the cleanliness of my oven today, okay? Like I said, don't judge me on the cleanliness of my oven. I definitely need to get this cleaned up before next week. Okay, so we're just waiting for them to shrink. This is when you get really scared because everything gets curly and sometimes it flips over and you're like, oh no, no, no. But you just gotta leave them for just a little longer and then they will flatten back out. And they will be perfectly fine. Now, if you get them out of the oven while they're still hot, if they are a little curled and not perfectly flat, you can just take a spatula or a wooden block or something like that and just flatten them out while they're still hot. You do have to work a little quickly on that. I think they're just about there though. We're gonna give them just a couple more seconds. I have one little tile that needs to be turned over. They are very soft and pliable right now. But then what you do is just take your little spatula and just flatten everybody out good and flat. And there you have it. Now we have our own set of alphabet tiles in our double sets, and they are ready to use as soon as they cool down. They need to cool down just a little bit, and I have a bunch more to make. I actually only was able to get 24 on this one regular size cookie sheet, so I have 2 more letters, and then I also have some additional tiles to make. But I'll get all those made, and I'll give you the scoop on all the tiles I have before we wrap up the video. So I have a pile of markers now that I can use for my fabric. Just want to show you really quickly. This is what I do. So like if I have fabric pieces that are supposed to be for a block, and I know, I cut them out and then I just clip using one of my binding clips. I usually just clip one of those tiles onto it. The pattern will tell you most of the time what letter goes on there. I just clip that tile onto the fabric pieces that I've cut, and I know when I get back to it that I know everything's labeled, and it's so much easier to find what I need. I don't have to keep track of this is a 1.5 and this is a 2.5, and I can cut out an entire block or an entire quilt even, and not have to lose track of what's what. Now obviously you could do the same thing with a piece of paper, your post-it note, and that would be perfectly fine. I just like something that I can use over and over and over. You can also do that with index cards and anything, but this is just one option. The other thing that I like, and this is the reason I put the hole in them, if I have a large stack of fabric, then with that hole I can just run a safety pin through it, and I can pin that right onto my fabric, and it is also, again, ready to go. It's not going to go anywhere, and this will be great for organizing my pieces for my block or my quilt. So I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you try it out. Play with some Shrinky Dink. It is so much fun. Oh my gosh. It just brings back like all kinds of fun memories from when my stepdaughter was little. We used to do like all kinds of Shrinky Dink bracelets and necklaces and room decor and all kinds of stuff. It is super fun, and if you have some laying around and you're like, what am I going to do with this stuff? Maybe this is a solution for you. Use it for your quilting or use it for your crafting. Help you get yourself some tiles or some labels for your items. So until next time, find joy in all you do. Carve out some time for crafting and creating, and make sure it's always happy stitching.